Hey everybody, hope you guys are having an amazing day. Hope you guys are drinking plenty of water, eating plenty of food, taking care of your mental health, and getting some sunlight. So today we actually have a special one. Resident Evil 9 is actually real, but it's called Resident Evil Requiem. But I do want to get more in depth when it comes to the RE Requiem trailer. If you guys like the content, make sure to like the video, and if you are new to the channel and do not want to miss any more Resident Evil content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And most importantly guys, thank you guys for watching, and let's move on to the video. We're going to go through every little single detail, what everything means specifically. We're going to try and just pinpoint every single little tiny detail we can actually possibly find. Obviously, we do have this building, and this is like the FBI building that we do see in the beginning of the trailer. This isn't the same organization that's with Leon. This is actually FBI, which is a whole different entity than what we're used to. Leon being in DSO. Before it was actually called the DSO, it was actually called the FBO. So these are two different organizations. This is just the FBI and has no affiliation with Leon as far as I'm concerned, or part of that organization in general. So then the camera pans inside of the building, and we do have this gentleman here who is actually the higher up for our new character here, which her name is actually Grace Ashcroft. So I do want to talk about this part in particular because it's heavily reminiscent to the very first Resident Evil game. If you do not remember the rumors back then, we did get rumors that the game is going to be heavily inspired by Resident Evil 1 remake or Resident Evil 1 1996. And I feel like as soon as I saw this was heavily reminiscent to Resident Evil 1 and the documentation we do actually get in the beginning of the game when it comes to the series of murders, when it comes to bodies being discovered in the Arklay forest that are being quote-unquote mutilated by creatures. Maybe there's a serial killer around, etc, etc. So it says investigation summary report, incident, fourth victim of unidentified disease. Summer of incident, a deceased individual was discovered at an abandoned government office. Preliminary analysis suggests the deceased may be linked to a series of murders. So and then we move on here, and then we actually see who is our new character. Her name is actually Grace Ashcroft, who is actually the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft from the Resident Evil Outbreak series. So I do want to point this out in here because this is like a small little detail that a lot of people do miss on this part. But look at her desk. Her desk is extremely messy. You get a sense of uncleanliness when it comes to this character, and that's because she's been researching for so long, trying to gather information about what we're about to talk about. Her mother actually disappeared quite some time ago, and I feel like she has been doing a lot of research lately. She has been doing a lot of digging when it comes to these files, the whereabouts of her mom, what happened to her. So the desk itself indicates that she's been initially through this so many times, just searching for answers. So then she's told to meet him at the office right after this particular scene. So at this part in particular, she's talking about if this is like some report that you've asked before. So obviously she's been kind of sloppy when it comes to her duties. She hasn't been on task, what it seems like, and she's been searching for this particular information. What I'm guessing is about her mom being, well, Alyssa Ashcroft again. Also, I forgot to mention that she is part of the analytic team as well. So then he tells her that yes, they found another body, and this is due to the series of murders that she's actually researching for the FBI. Not for the FBI, but I really do think she's kind of researching these particular murders for her very own reasons, something separate. So Grace Ashcroft is actually a technical analyst when it comes to the FBI. So then she is asked to investigate a crime scene when it comes to the Bremwood Hotel. And as soon as he gives her this document, she pretty much gets these PTSD flashbacks. Don't know if these are memories or not, but she's definitely getting some hallucination of some sort, some flashbacks, whatever it may be. Then he says, well, that's where your mother was murdered initially. So another thing is, Alyssa actually died 8 years ago. So this is the aftermath of this quote-unquote incident that we've yet to see. What timeline does this actually take place is pretty much unknown still, but we can also find a document in Resident Evil 7 that actually took place in 2017. So is this 8 years prior to that? 8 years prior to that would actually be 2025. So yes, this kind of indicates that yes, she's gonna have to find some way to fight her past. So who knows what that actually means and what she actually faced in her past. But yes, we are diving into a lot of trauma into Resident Evil Requiem. We see flashbacks of Alyssa Ashcroft, flashbacks of the hotel itself, the crime scene. You know, you see a bedroom here, there. You basically see the inside of the hotel itself. Now here, she's actually tied up to what it looks like a bed of some sort, probably being experimented on. Probably we see like this new strain of virus that we don't know about still, but we can also assume that she was kidnapped by a group of people maybe. And also she's actually upside down, which is one of the more horrifying things in this trailer. Just waking up upside down, not knowing where you're at, being kidnapped. It's just completely horrifying and honestly devastating, especially knowing what your mom went through. Now here we have the hallway. We have the hallway that's very reminiscent to the first Resident Evil, with the just curtains just flapping back and forth because of the amount of winds that are coming in. So it's heavily reminiscent to the RE1 rumors, or RE1 in general. The rumors did say that this game was going to actually have heavy inspiration from the first Resident Evil game. Now, the person that's saying stay close, I am guessing this is actually Alyssa Ashcroft. It sounds like Jill Valentine, but the fact that she's saying stay close, I feel like we are listening to Alyssa Ashcroft talking to a younger Grace Ashcroft, in my opinion. Although it really does sound like Jill Valentine, in my opinion. That does sound like Nicole Thompson. So this mysterious guy, when it comes to this chair here, I do want to point something out. I do want to point a few things out. First of all, he does have a midnight outfit, like a Wesker-like midnight outfit. I'm not saying this is Albert Wesker. I do think this is either Brandon Bailey, who has been in the shadows since Resident Evil 5. I say this because he has heavy connections with, well, no pun intended, with the connections themselves. His whereabouts are currently unknown. He's presumed dead, but is considered alive at the same time. No one really knows the whereabouts of Brandon Bailey, which is why I think he is a possibility. But also, I also think this can be Oswald E. Spencer. Only because this is such an Oswald E. Spencer kind of thing to do, you know, having the gramophone right next to him, which is an antique item. It's an old guy. It's a really old guy. So obviously some of the household items are going to be pretty old fashioned. That's what he basically initially just been around with the whole time. And if you enter the Spencer mansion, you actually do see some of these old antique-ish items. And this is heavily giving you that essential aura. Just him sitting in the dark, you know, window right there, thunderstrike. Somehow, maybe he had turned young. He actually found the key to immortality, which was his initial agenda when it comes to the original Resident Evil timeline before his quote-unquote demise from Wesker. So I don't know if he actually died or not, came back from the dead somehow, probably found a way to cheat death. But at this point, who knows? Here, we actually have a whole sky view of Raccoon City itself, that giant crater there. That is when the missile hit in Raccoon City when it comes to Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, which is super interesting because not everything apparently got obliterated. I don't know if that's like a retcon, but I'm pretty sure the radius was big enough to kind of destroy everything there, but apparently it wasn't. I really thought this was nothing but like dust and landscape. I really thought like nothing survived from this, but apparently it did. We do have a few buildings here that actually survived. We do hear a person say investigating strange deaths, huh? Then we have another character that says, well, we need to keep our voices down. My initial thought that this is maybe Alyssa or Jill talking to maybe Carlos or Chris or Leon, one of the three. So I really do think we have two main characters speaking right now. I have no clue. I personally don't have any idea because they can share voice actors and actresses. So I really don't know who this could be. To be honest, my first instinct was Jill Valentine because it does sound like kind of like a deeper, lower toned, more mature type of Nicole Thompson.
Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
We need to keep our voices down.
And this voice right here sounds really Carlos-like. It sounds extremely like Carlos here.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
It's something Carlos would definitely say 100%. Please know you are my hope. Everyone is gone, and I feel like that is Grace specifically talking. And what do we have here? We actually have the RPD building from the aftermath from the blast that happened in Raccoon City. Just super interesting. Are we going to visit the, you know, blown up RPD? Most likely yes. Do I think, are we going to explore the whole RPD? Probably not, because everything is probably blocked off from the rubble. But I think we are going to revisit the RPD once again. We got this guy on the floor saying, stay away from her, whatever that means. Don't really know what this guy actually is doing here, to be honest. I really don't have any information about this guy. Maybe he's actually from the FBI itself, what it looks like. So it could be like a team investigating these incidents, and you know, just things went down when they arrived. And here is probably one of the freakiest parts of the trailer, is this thing actually crawling from the ceiling. If you look at the top, it actually looks like it's a hole, maybe. So it can be a hole, and this thing is just going from hole to hole essentially. But this thing looks absolutely creepy. It looks absolutely insane, very terrifying. Not sure if this is going to be a stalker enemy. Most likely it will be. This is going to be like some alien isolation type of enemy, I feel like, because now it can go inside of the walls, maybe come out from like holes from around the map or whatever, from around, you know, the areas you're in. It's going to be extremely terrifying. Here we actually see somebody actually being suffocated, and we don't really know who's that guy in the hoodie there. It could be a main character. I feel like this is like a huge red herring. If you want me to be completely honest, I really do think this might be one of the main characters or a villain. Who knows? It could be Leon. Who knows? We really don't know. Here we got a zombie here, just a regular ordinary zombie that looks like he's from the FBI, just going by the clothes on him in the bottom there. And finally, we have a zombie, something we haven't seen in the series for quite a while when it comes to the main entries, at least. Heavily reminiscent to Resident Evil 1, and especially this font here, this actual style of font here, which I absolutely love. This is actually a style of font that's actually in Resident Evil 1 Remake 2002. It's actually phenomenal how they actually put this together, and I cannot wait until this game comes out. And there you go. This is pretty much everything what we have for Resident Evil 9. For now, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot more stuff we will get in the future. When that comes out, we're going to go super in depth with that stuff too. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys like the content, make sure to like the video. And if you are new to the channel, do not want to miss any more Resident Evil content, make sure to subscribe. And most importantly, guys, please be safe out there. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next time. Thank you for watching. And until then, peace.